Welcome to Bigfoot Adventures. Have you ever had a Bigfoot sighting? If you have and you don't want to let anybody know that it was you that saw them, or you're afraid to tell your story because you're afraid of you being made fun of, I'd be glad to tell your story for you. All you have to do is email me your story at bigfootadventures411@gmail.com. Let me know what you want me to say, what you don't want me to say, and I can put your story out there so other people can hear about it without you being identified.
I don't wanna go out on my own. Maybe we could stay and make a home. It's written on my heart and in my soul. You're the one good thing. And I don't think I've ever been so low, 'cause losing you was worse than losing hope. And baby, I could never let you go. You're the one good thing I know. No, I don't wanna blow up on the phone. Baby, we should never sleep alone. This isn't how we used to speak so cold.
This next story is actually three stories that are kind of combined because they're all in the same area. And the first part of the story is from me in 2020. I think it was October of 2020. I was staying at a friend's house way out in the country in Georgia, and I'll just tell you it was near Lincolnton. And I was staying at her house, and I had a fire going outside, and I was sitting out there by the fire, and as I was sitting out there by the fire, I hear this horrible scream coming out of the woods. I mean, horrible. I didn't think it was a fox. I didn't think it was a cat. Didn't sound like a deer in distress, nothing that I had ever heard before. And, I wondered about it, and it kind of freaked me out, and I actually put the fire out and went inside. Well, a whole year later, I decided to go camping in this area to see if I could hear something again. Well, needless to say, I didn't hear anything this time while I was camping, but I did find some structures that were kind of odd in the same area. So those would be in these pictures. But the first story comes from a gentleman that was actually hunting. This goes back to way back to 1978 or 1979. And the reason I'm telling you this is because, I looked up the area to see if there was any sightings, and this is what came up. This gentleman had gone out into the woods at 5 a.m., and it was really super foggy. And he got into his tree stand, which was 25 feet, above the ground. And he hears this thing just screaming and hollering and carrying on. And he didn't know what it was. He never heard anything like that. And he was freaking out, and he was, but he wasn't about to get down, but he was still ready to leave, even though he was 25 feet up. But whatever it was actually walked right underneath his stand and kept going. Well, at about 10:30 a.m. that day, one of his hunting buddies was walking through the area, and he whistled to him. and the hunting buddy came over and they started talking. He goes, "Man, I heard this weird sound." He goes, "Oh yeah, I heard that too." So they decided that that was awfully odd. So, they went about their hunt, and later on that evening, one of the gentlemen got a deer. So they got the deer. They packaged it up, took it out of there, and took it back to base camp. The next day, they all went out to where the stand was, and right where the stand was on the ground, they found 20-inch long hairs that were very coarse. And they sent these hairs off to the University of Georgia, and they were determined not to be from a horse or a pig. They never determined what they were from, and I guess there would need to be more testing. But the gentleman that had the hair, he actually has since died. So that was really a strange thing that happened there. They never actually saw it because of the fog. He shined his flashlight down, couldn't see it, the fog was real thick. But fast forward to June 29th, 2009, and I believe it's the next county over from where this gentleman was and where I was. There's a family there that has ongoing Bigfoot sightings. They have a whole Bigfoot family living on their property. They do not want the area known. They see them all the time. They hear them all the time. They can smell them when they're near. They see their footprints. And the whole family is living on their property. And their property, it has a creek that runs through it and a pond. And it's forested with pine and swampy in some areas. They always notice the males, but now they notice that there's a female with a young baby that's hanging out too. So it's clearly a whole family unit. They actually cleared out the woods in one area for a project they were working on, and they noticed the whole family unit moved to a different area on their property to stay hidden. But they are having ongoing experiences with this family, and they're very protective of them. They don't want anything to happen. They don't want anybody to harm them. And this is extremely close to where we were, by within 50 miles, I'd say. So there's definitely something going on in those woods, and I'm going to probably go back out there eventually and try to see if I hear anything again. But whatever it was I heard that night, it made the hairs on my neck stand up. It was creepy. So that's the story on this one. Thanks for listening.